In all my years at sea, I had never seen the ocean as calm as on the night of the 14th of April 1912. It was as flat as a mill pond. Such a flat calm would make it hard for Titanic's lookouts, fleet and lee, to spot any icebergs, particularly as they had no binoculars. The binoculars were locked in the cabin of David Blair. Blair had been the original second officer aboard Titanic when, at the last minute, Captain Smith requested that Mr. Wilde be appointed chief officer. This resulted in the chief and first officers aboard being moved down a rank. Mr. Murdoch became the first officer and Mr. Lightoller the second officer. Blair no longer held the rank of second officer and left the ship before she began her maiden voyage. It was intended that he would be reinstated when the Titanic returned to Southampton. With most of the passengers retired for the night, the still silence was only broken by the sound of the crew going about their usual duties, and the wind whistling through the ropes as the ship moved through the water at 22 knots.
Throughout the day and evening of Sunday 14th of April, radio operator Harold Bride had been kept busy sending messages, both business and personal, from the passengers aboard Titanic. He had also received several signals from other ships in the area warning of icebergs, field ice and growlers. Most of these signals were reported to Captain Smith. Bride received a signal from the Californian at 6:30 p.m. warning of 3 large bergs, and he took the message to the bridge himself. At 9:40 p.m, Bride had been relieved in the Marconi room by senior operator Jack Phillips. He received a message from the vessel Messeber telling of heavy pack ice, an ice field, and a very large number of icebergs. Sadly, Jack Phillips was so busy that the message was overlooked and placed on a spike, and it never reached the bridge. The freighter Californian had stopped 19 miles north of Titanic's position. Captain Lord of the Californian refused to continue due to so much field ice being around. He ordered the message to be sent to all vessels in the area, advising,
"We are stopped, surrounded by ice."
The reply came back from the Titanic,
"You're jamming my signal. I'm working Cape Race. Keep out."
A none too happy Cyril Evans, radio operator on the Californian, retired to bed in frustration. A bit annoyed he was, to say the least.
As for me, I'd been baking a bread, especially for Mr. Thomas Andrews, a real gentleman if ever I met one. The sort of man who might put a good word in for me if ever I needed him to, if you know what I mean. Please accept this with my compliments, sir.
You're very kind, Chef.
You're welcome, Mr. Andrews, and might I say what a privilege it is to serve on this wonderful ship of yours, sir.
Well, thank you, Chef. Very much appreciated.
Good night, sir.
Good night, Chef.
Then Roby hurtled around the corner and just managed to slip into second place, and the Savannah crowd exploded.
You've travelled so much. I would love to have been to half the places you've been to.
Then I will take you, Mary. We must go together. We've got all the time in the world.
Incidentally, what time is it?
It's 20 minutes to 12, and the night is still young.
Stephen, what's that? It looks like a windjammer.
Good God! I think it's an iceberg, and it looks like we're headed straight for it.
Blimey! What's that?
It's a bloody great iceberg! Quick! Ring a bell!
Yes? What do you see?
Iceberg! Right ahead, sir!
Thank you. Hard to starboard.
Hard to starboard. The helm's hard over, sir.
What have we struck?
An iceberg, sir. I tried to port around it, but it was too close.
Have you closed the emergency doors?
The doors are already closed, sir.
It appeared the Titanic was about to collide head-on with the iceberg, but she slowly veered to port. A sickening scrape was heard by some as a spar from the berg below the waterline pommeled along the side of the ship. The pressure of it against the hull caused rivets to pop and plates to buckle, allowing the sea to enter along a 300-foot path. The first 6 compartments were opened to the sea and began to flood, as indeed did the coal bunker, servicing number 9 Stokehold.
Call the carpenter and get him to sound the ship.
Yes, sir.
Mary, Mother of God, did you see that? I've never seen such a thing. Did it hit us, do you think?
I think it must have. I felt something. Look at the ice down there on the forward deck. There's huge, great lumps of it.
By 11:50 p.m, the post office on G deck forward was already flooding. After a quick inspection of the damage by Chief Officer Wild, 4th Officer Boxhall and Andrews, Captain Smith began to assess the situation. Titanic was sinking, and the 2,200 people on board were in the utmost peril.
I'm sure we shouldn't be in this part of the ship. It says first class only on that sign.
Would you listen to the wee fella? Do you think it's too good up here for the likes of us?
I think he's right, John. I'm not sure we should be here.
Well, would you look at that? We must have scraped an iceberg. There's ice on the deck. That's what the noise must have been. Come on, Jimmy. See if you can catch this.
Careful you don't fall, Jimmy. It looks very slippy out there. Careful you don't jump overboard as you're trying to catch a piece, John. We know you're a bit of an just when it comes to your games.
Here, Annie. Catch!
Look, it's freezing cold.
Look over the side. You can just see the iceberg we must have hit. Would you look at the size of that?
Do you think it might have damaged the ship, Annie?
Not at all, Jimmy. Nothing could damage this ship. She's unsinkable. All the passengers say so. Now come on, back to bed with you.
Will you stay with me till I go to sleep, Annie?
Of course I will, Jimmy. I'll stay till you're sound asleep and dreaming of Tiernan Oak.
What's the matter, darling? Why are you up?
I felt something. Like we've run aground, maybe. I'm not sure. I just feel like something's not right.
I'm sure it's nothing, my dear. Perhaps we've thrown a propeller blade or something.
No, Henry. Something's not right. I don't know. I just feel it.
Okay, my love. I'll check it out if you like. And then we can get back to this lovely, comfortable bed of ours.
If you wouldn't mind. I think it would put my mind at rest.
I'll be back soon, darling.
How is it looking, Andrews?
Put all together, the facts show that there are 6 compartments open to the sea on the starboard side of the ship. The first 6 compartments are flooded. She can stay afloat, with the first 4 compartments flooded, but not 6. Most of the bulkheads between the compartments only go as high as E-deck. With the first 4 compartments flooded, the ship would sink so low in the water that the water in the first would overflow into the second into the third, and so on. This ship is going to find her. It's a mathematical certainty, make no mistake.
How long have we got?
An hour? Maybe 2 at the most.
We must get as many people as possible into the lifeboats. There must be no panic.
All the boats, if fully loaded, could carry a total of 1,178 people. On this cold April night, there were 2,227 souls on board. Had the Titanic been carrying her full capacity of passengers and crew, there would have been 3,500 people aboard. Captain Smith knew what the news meant. The Titanic only had enough lifeboats for barely half the number on board. The Titanic needed help, and needed it desperately. In the Marconi room, Chief Telegraphist Jack Phillips is repeatedly sending out the standard distress signal CQD when the second wireless operator, Harold Bride, makes a suggestion.
How about sending the new SOS signal, Jack? This might be your last chance to send it.
This was not the first time the internationally recognised Morse code distress signal SOS was used. The SOS signal was first proposed at the International Conference on Wireless Communication at Sea in Berlin in 1906. It was ratified by the international community in 1908 and had been in widespread use since then. The SOS signal, however, was rarely used by British wireless operators, who preferred the older CQD code.
At midnight, I received instructions to man the lifeboats. I knew there would already be a supply of biscuits aboard. It made sense to me that they'd need more food supplies for the passengers. I mustered my staff and we raided the kitchens for all the bread we could find, and we put the bread into some of the lifeboats. Once the lads had gone on their way, I took myself off to my cabin for some liquid refreshment. On a cold night like this, a little nip can warm the cockles of your heart.
At 12:10, the lights of a nearby ship could be seen off the port side. At 12:45, since it was not responding to wireless, 4th Officer Boxhall and Quartermaster Rowe attempted to signal the ship with a Morse lamp, and later with distress rockets. The ship did not appear to respond. At this time, the first lifeboats were lowered into the water. From 12:10 to 1:10, lifeboats 7, 5, 6, 3, 1 and 8 had been filled and lowered into the water in that order. Not all had been filled to capacity. Most were only half loaded. The gallant Captain Smith himself oversaw the loading of lifeboat number 8. At 1:30 a.m, lifeboat number 14 was lowered. By this time, most of the remaining passengers realised that the ship was going to founder, and panic began to replace the orderly manner of earlier lifeboat launches. Officer Lowe had to fire his gun to discourage a group of men who were trying to enter the lifeboat. As boat number 14 hit the sea, the cork stopper in the bottom of the boat was forced out. Icy water poured into the lifeboat and reached the knees of some of the passengers before the cork was found and replaced.
Oh my God, please, somebody find the cork. Please stop the water coming in. We're going to fall into the sea. Please don't let us fall into the sea.
Meanwhile, in the Marconi room, the senior wireless operator receives a Morse signal from the Carpathia, some 58 miles and 4 hours away from Titanic.
Take this to the bridge immediately. It's the Carpathia. They're coming at full speed, but it's still going to take them 4 hours to get here.
I'm on my way.
At 1:10, I began my assigned duties with Chief Officer Wilde at lifeboat number 10. Come on, madam. In you get.
Are you sure this is really necessary? It is frightfully inconvenient.
Mummy, that's my mummy. Please let my mummy in, please.
That's all right, my dear. You take my place.
What about you, Baker?
That's all right, sir. I'm no sailor. The lads will manage fine without me. Women and children first, eh, sir? After giving up my seat in lifeboat 10, I started to make my way back to my cabin, as I was feeling in need of further fortification. It was on my way back to my cabin that I encountered Mr. and Mrs. Marshall on the grand staircase.
Please, darling, put it on.
But Henry, it's so clumsy.
Excuse me, Mr. Andrews? Could you please explain to my wife how imperative it is for her to put her life jacket on?
If you value your life, put it on and make your way to the boats now.
It's all right, Mr. Andrews. I'll make sure the lady gets into a boat. Now you come along with me, my dear.
With the last few lifeboats remaining, passengers started to realise that there were not going to be enough places for everyone. Several officers had to pull men from the lifeboats to ensure women and children first. Guns were issued to officers to make certain order was maintained.
There you go, my dear. There are just a couple of places left in lifeboat 11.
Women and children first.
I'll make sure she gets in, sir.
Hurry up, Chief.
I'm not getting in, Henry. I refuse to leave you.
Darling, you simply must.
But I want to stay with you.
I'll make sure your husband gets a place in another boat, Mrs. Marshall.
No, Henry. No, please. We said we'd always be together. I want to stay on board with you.
Get in, please. Darling, we'll be together again soon. It's just a formality that women and children get into the lifeboat at this time.
Mrs. Marshall, I need you to do something for me. I bought this cameo for my wife. In case I lose it, please make sure she gets it. I bought it for her for our anniversary. And don't worry, ma'am. Your husband will be safe.
Are you being completely honest with me?
Don't you be worrying, my dear. Everyone will be safe.
Goodbye, Henry. I'll see you soon, darling.
Goodbye, my love. Goodbye.
Lower away.
Goodbye.
Mr. Marshall, the water's freezing. I'm going to try to stay with the ship till the last minute. You'd be well advised to do the same. A man won't last long in these waters. 20 minutes at most, they say. After Lifeboat 11 was lowered, I began to make my way to the aft deck when I noticed Mary trying to get passengers into lifeboat number 13.
What a fiasco. I shall be writing
Oh
a
dear,
very
Charlie.
strongly worded
A
letter
frightful mess this is becoming.
Starline.
I've been trying to muster as many of the ladies as I can, but some are just refusing to leave their husbands. Oh, some believe they are safer on the ship than in those lifeboats.
You've done your best to get the passengers in. It's time for you to get in now, Mary.
But there may be passengers below decks.
Time is running out. You must get in, now. Save yourself, Mary.
Look, Charlie, I still have your wife's shawl on. You better be having it back.
Don't be daft, Mary. It'll be freezing in that lifeboat. My wife would want to know it's been put to good use on a night like this. Besides, you can give it back to me at breakfast.
Women and children only. Please, get in, ladies. There isn't much time.
Mary! I've been looking for you everywhere. I lost you in the crowd. Thank God you're safe.
Charlie wants me to get in the lifeboat, but all my friends are staying behind. It'd be mean to go.
You must get in, Mary. I want to know you're safe.
What about you, Stephen?
Don't be concerned about me. I'll get a seat in another boat. We'll meet again tomorrow and we can plan our future travels together. Just think of this as the first of many adventures.
You will be back with us on the ship again soon.
There you are, Roby. I was wondering where you'd got to. I was beginning to think I might have to find myself a new squash partner.
You won't get rid of me that easily. Besides, someone needs to keep you out of mischief.
You must go now, Mary. Be brave.
Bye, Stephen.
Take care, Mary. Goodbye, Mary.
At this time, 9-week-old Millvina Dean is placed in lifeboat number 13. Her father kisses his baby daughter on the cheek and wraps her in a sack to keep her warm. She is then lowered into the lifeboat. On the lower decks of the Titanic, there is immense anguish among the third-class passengers. Huge numbers of them are trying to make their way to the boats, but at every turn they are held back by locked gates or restrained from proceeding to the upper decks by stewards. Even when there are no physical barriers in their way, many cannot bring themselves to pass through doors marked first class only. A few third-class passengers did manage to scramble to the upper decks, but most remained below. The ones who did eventually make their way up found that there were not enough lifeboats left for everyone on board.
There's no lifeboats left, lads.
There must be some on the other side. Come on.
Don't only half full. Oh, Jesus.
Come on, quick, hurry.
Follow me, come on, another way.
What are we going to do? Jimmy, come on, we have to get to the road.
They're not going to abandon us on the bleeding ship. Come on.
Realising time was running out, I made my way back to my cabin for more liquid courage. As I made my way along B deck, I decided to throw as many deck chairs as I could lay my hands on into the ocean. I managed to throw about 50 in total. I thought it would help if there was something in the freezing cold water for the passengers who didn't make it into the lifeboats to cling on to. Pushing the deck chairs through the windows was a little like threading a needle, and it was tiring work. Unfortunately for me, By the time I reached E-deck, it was flooded, so I never got my extra nip of whiskey. So I went to the pantry where I found some water. I made my way back to the promenade deck by way of the grand staircase, where I came across a small party of Irish immigrants struggling to find their way to the upper decks.
Which way to the lifeboats, man?
Well, you could keep going up the staircase, or you could take the lift to B-deck and then... On second thoughts, I'll show you. Walk this way.
Lifeboat number 16 was one of the last to be lowered into the water. Mary Burke and Kate Burke were pushed into the boats by stewards, but then decided to exit.
Hurry up now, ladies. There isn't much time.
I won't leave my husband.
Please, madam, stay seated.
No, help me out. I need to be with my husband.
Madam, please, sit down. This ship is sinking and we need to get all the boats launched as quickly as possible.
I refuse to leave my brother. Come on, Kate. We're getting out.
Go on, Annie. You get in and take her place. I look after Mary and Kate.
I don't want to go without you.
You must, Annie. And come on, take wee Jimmy with you.
I'm afraid the boy is too old. Women and children only in this boat.
But he's just a boy.
Sorry, ma'am. I have my orders. Women and children only. Now, hurry along, please.
But officer, please. Look at him. He's just a wee lad.
Lower away.
Get in, please, madam.
Would you let the wee lad aboard?
He's just a child.
Lower away. Would you have some compassion, man, for God's sake?
Lower away. Steady as she goes.
Just give me a moment, officer.
Hurry up, chef.
Miss, do you have any children?
No.
I have a daughter, Agnes, whom I love more than anything else in the world. I bought her this music box. Would you be so kind as to make sure she gets it? You're my only hope of making sure she does. Please. Please. Can you let her know how much I love her?
But why can't you give it to her yourself?
As a crew member, it's my duty to make sure all the passengers get away safely. There may not be a boat for me. Please, my dear, take it to her. Tell her I was thinking of her and her mother at this time, and that I did my duty.
I promise I will tell her. Please, help young Jimmy get into a boat.
Do what I can, miss. There are still some collapsible boats to be launched.
Thank you. You're a good man. God bless you. And you keep safe.
In you get, ma'am. Women and children only.
Annie!
Steady as she goes.
Jimmy! Jimmy, no!
Annie!
By 2 a.m, the water was only 10 feet below the promenade deck. At this time, bandmaster Wallace Hartley and his musicians ceased playing the lively ragtime tunes that had kept passengers' spirits up while they had been boarding the lifeboats. Hartley stood alone and began to play Nearer, My God, to Thee. He had always said it would be the hymn he would select for his own funeral. The other instrumentalists returned to join him, one by one, in what was to be their last performance. At 2:10 a.m, Captain Smith entered the wireless room for the last time. The sea was pouring onto the forward end of A deck, and Titanic's tilt grew steeper.
You have done your full duty. You could do no more. It's every man for himself.
At 2:17 a.m, Titanic's bow began to submerge more rapidly than before. On the aft deck, hundreds of second and third class passengers were gathered, and Reverend Thomas Biles gave absolution to the many passengers who were awaiting their final moments.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
Collapsible B was pushed off the roof of the officers' quarters and landed upside down on the boat deck. On the other side of the ship, Collapsible A was in the process of being loaded when the bridge and the boat deck went under. A wave swept both boats off Titanic, and many of Collapsible A's passengers were washed out in the swell. At 2:18 a.m, a huge roar was heard as Titanic broke in half. The lights blinked once and then went out, leaving Titanic visible only as a black silhouette against the cold, starlit sky. The aft section of the ship became vertical and remained there for several minutes. The remaining passengers hung on desperately as Titanic began its descent into the cold, dark Atlantic waters.
Hold on, George.
I'm so cold. I can't hold on. I'm gonna fall. I can't hold on any longer.
Hold on to the railings with me, my dear. She's beginning to go down. Hang on, child. Hold on to me if you need to. Don't worry, we'll find your mother.
Here, though I walk through the valley, the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Be thy name. Thy kingdom come.
As Titanic dived beneath the surface, the cries of those in the water filled the air. The screams continued for several minutes, then died out. Gradually, the air was filled with a deathly silence. In lifeboat number 5, Third Officer Pittman looked at his watch and announced,
"It's 2:20 a.m.
as Titanic began her descent to her final resting place on the seabed, some 12,460 feet below the surface. Some of those in the lifeboats wanted to return to help the 1,500 passengers struggling to survive in the freezing cold North Atlantic. Sadly, due to the fear of being capsized, only one lifeboat, number 4, returned. In the water, Collapsible B had capsized and had not righted itself. Hanging on for their lives were a dozen or so passengers and crew, including Colonel Archibald Gracie, radio operator Harold Bride, and Second Officer Charles Lightoller, who had assumed command of the lifeboat. Charles Jogin swam up and, like many others, tried to board the Collapsible, but was pushed away. Not wanting to give up, Charles swam to the other side of the Collapsible, where he was spotted by the entree chef, Isaac Maynard.
Is that you, Charlie? I, Maynard. Here. Grab hold of my hand.
Jogin remained in the freezing water for a further 2 hours, clinging onto Maynard. The edge of his lifebelt rested on Collapsible B. Other passengers held onto the Collapsible, but died within minutes from hypothermia. Jogin was almost certainly saved by the fact that he had consumed an insulating amount of alcohol.
Maynard, There's a lifeboat approaching over there. Hold my hand. And I'll swim over and take my chances.
Best of luck, old chap.
God bless you, Maynard.
Charles Jogin was picked up by the passing lifeboat, which was crowded with women. He later claimed that he was in fact colder in the lifeboat than he had been in the sea. At 3:30 a.m, the Carpathia's rockets were sighted by those in the lifeboats. At 4:10 a.m, Titanic's number 2 lifeboat was the first to be picked up. The first passenger to be rescued was first-class passenger Elizabeth Allen, and it was she who confirmed to the Carpathia's stunned crew that the Titanic had indeed sunk. One by one, the remaining survivors were rescued, and finally, at about 8:30 a.m, the last person to be rescued was taken aboard.
The relief of female survivors at being rescued was soon overtaken by grief when they realized that their husbands, fathers, uncles, and grandfathers had not been picked up, but had perished with Titanic. At 8:50 a.m., the Carpathia left the searching for survivors to the Californian and made for New York, having picked up only 705 survivors. An estimated 1,522 souls had been lost. From the Carpathia, J. Bruce Ismay sent the following message to White Star Line's New York offices.
Deeply regret. Advise you Titanic sank this morning after collision iceberg, resulting serious lost life. Full particulars later.
On board the Carpathia, a service was held for those who had perished. Survivors stood shoulder to shoulder to remember those who had been lost.
Pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
The next time Charles saw Kate and Mary was on board the Carpathia. Mary returned his shawl and thanked Charlie for his kindness on the night of the sinking. Charlie inquired if there was any news of Stephen. Mary explained that she had not heard anything and did not hold out much hope. A grief-stricken Kate Phillips returned the cameo so that he would now be able to give it to his wife himself. Outside the White Star offices in Canute Road, Southampton, crowds gathered. Mothers with babies in their arms stared blankly ahead, while the babies gurgled and cooed, unaware of the tragic loss of their fathers. Mothers and daughters, some silent, some crying quietly, some begging for news. But all were united in a common purpose, waiting for news, and waiting, and waiting.
Dear God, someone must be able to tell us something. If only they would tell us something. Anything. It's the suspense that hurts, isn't it?
After 3 days, a clerk posted a list of survivors on the blackboard on the gates of the White Star offices. The women pushed forward, and one woman fell to her knees, overcome with grief. She was helped away by a friend. A second woman let out a cry of joy and hugged her 2 children to her.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. He's alive. My darlings, your father is saved. He will be coming home to us.
What about my husband? What about my dear son? When are they going to tell us? Will we know? When will we know all the names?
Also tell us something about the Stokers. What about Have you heard anything about the Stokers? What about my dear son? God, I yeah. Have you heard anything, Mary?
No, I heard nothing.
Yeah, they should. Yeah.
In the city of Southampton, there was barely a family untouched by news of the disaster. Indeed, almost everyone in Southampton knew of someone or had a relative on the lost liner. Flags flew at half-mast. Women wept for their men who had gone down on the Titanic. And the local school in Northam reported that attendance was suffering. Married women had lost their husbands. Some had only been married a month or so. Mothers and fathers grieved for their sons. In some families, as many as 4 family members had been lost. Southampton had never known such grief. It was overwhelming. The New York newspapers on April the 15th had names of the survivors as received from the Carpathia. There were many misspellings, and this added to the general confusion among those waiting at the Broadway office for news of their loved ones. The New York Times was one of the first to publish, but they were not alone. At 8 a.m. on the 15th, crowds formed around bulletin boards outside facades of newspaper offices, Newspaper Row, City Hall Park, Herald Square and Times Square. There were no details of what had happened, just names of survivors as received from the Carpathia and relayed from Cape Race. It was on September the 1st, 1985, 73 years later, that Charles' grandson James turned on the television to hear the news of Dr. Robert Ballard's astounding discovery.
You are watching WIQD Live News Updates. We go over now to Henry Lasher at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Massachusetts for the latest on the Titanic discovery.
At 1:05 a.m., the crew of the Nore had almost given up all hope of finding Titanic when an image appeared on the screen. It was a boiler from Titanic. As the images on the video screen grew more and more vivid, large pieces of twisted hull plating, portholes, and a piece of railing turned on its side became visible. Surprisingly, the ship was in 2 pieces. Titanic was discovered to be resting at a depth of 12,460 feet and 13 nautical miles from where she was originally thought to rest. At this depth, the water pressure is 6,000 pounds per square inch. This joint American-French expedition was led by Jean-Louis Michel of Ifremer and Dr. Robert Ballard of the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. Surrounding the wreck was a large debris field over 1 square mile with pieces of the ship, including coal, furniture, dinnerware, and personal items. Softer materials like wood and carpet have been devoured by undersea organisms throughout the years. Human remains have suffered a similar fate. Over the next 24 hours, the debris field will be mapped, avoiding the main wreckage, and the crew will get to know the layout
found her,
of the land
Grandad.
before they go in for a closer look.
They found her. Sadly, our grandfather passed away in December 1956. It was over 10 years later that I answered the telephone to a lady who was trying to trace surviving relatives of Charles Jogin, as she had something she wished to return to him. The lady's name was Sister Patrick Joseph Kelly. She explained that she'd been given a music box by my grandfather on board Titanic the night she sank. She was known as Annie Kelly then. She had spent several years trying to trace him so that she could return it.
Here it is, sister. Here's Grandad's grave.
Here. Take my arm, sister.
I just wanted you to see this, Charlie, and to let you know that it will finally be given to Agnes, as you wished, when you gave it to me on that terrible night in 1912. I'm sorry I didn't return it to you on the Carpathia, but, as you may have known, I wasn't well, and I spent most of my time below decks in the ship's hospital. I've tried to find you over the years. I thought you were in England, Charlie. I didn't realise you'd moved to the United States. I wish I could have found you while you were still alive and given it to you personally. Thank you for saving my life that night. God bless you, Charlie. God bless you.
It took only a few days for the news of the sinking of the Titanic to be replaced by new headlines. But the repercussions of the world's most famous maritime disaster continued to affect the lives of those who survived forever. The policy of women and children first in the lifeboats meant that many surviving families were left destitute when they arrived in New York, as their sole breadwinner had been lost. Among the survivors, Kate Phillips, who had lost her future husband, Henry Morley, found herself to be pregnant with his child. She was taken in by a family in New York, but rejected by them when her pregnancy was discovered. Many of the survivors wrote letters to family and friends, explaining how they were still haunted by the events of the tragedy.
My dear Doris, I don't know how to write to you, or what to say. I feel I shall go mad sometimes, but dear, as much as my heart aches for my loss, it aches for yours too. You have lost your father, and the best that ever lived. I had not given up hope that he would be found until today, when I've been informed that every boat has been accounted for, and that he is not among those who have survived. I do not know how I will live without him. My dearest wish is that I had not been persuaded to get into a boat and leave him. Rather, I would have stayed by his side and we had perished together. He really wanted me to go, and I know that he would rather I'd lived and stayed with him on that ship and been lost. As I was lowered away in the lifeboat, I watched him, waving, standing there so calm, so dignified. And I know in my heart, dear, that his thoughts were not only with me, but also with you, his beloved daughter. Sometimes the grief is almost more than I can bear, and I feel that perhaps we had lived too much for each other. Sometimes I feel his loss as a punishment for all the hurt and anguish caused to you and your mother, for which I can only beg your forgiveness. I'm alone in this world now, and have nothing that was his. Not even a photo to keep near to my heart. Everything we had in the world went down with the ship, was lost. But I do know, dear, that he loved us both dearly. And I pray that you will one day find it in your heart to forgive him for leaving you the way that he did. May God bless you and comfort you during this time of terrible loss. And may you come to forgive us and remember your father with love and fondness. I will pray for your comfort daily. Kate Phillips.